It's your boy, what's the words? I gotta say what's up to my y'all Smooth Vega.
Tuned into the Smooth Vega podcast.
The podcast bitches.
Yo, we're back. Welcome to the Smooth Vega podcast. For those that aren't familiar, man, I'm excited about this next episode right here, man. Congratulations are in order to our next guest. Sold out show last night, Trees Dallas, the first show on his new tour, the Purdy Ones tour. Without further adu, I want to welcome K-Cap to the Smooth Vega podcast.
What's happening?
Man, look, let me tell you something, bro. I've been doing shows for a very long time, and I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of artists, routed a lot of tours, and I can honestly say this, and some heavy hitters there, may I add, I've never seen an artist sell out a show so far in advance the way that you did.
That's hard.
and I mean that, you know, because
Texas fuck with me strong, though.
Let me tell you something, man, because the venue that you played at last night, which is Trees Dallas, one of the most historic venues in all of, it is the most historic venue in Dallas in terms of like hard ticketed.
Yeah.
You know, Nirvana's played there. Post Malone started his career. There's a lot of artists that have played. Like, I'm talking about
That's hard.
A lot of artists. So for you to go in the room last night and do what you did, kicking off the Purdy Ones tour, amazing. Congratulations,
Appreciate
man. And I
it.
think that's a strong testament to the fact that, the best is yet to come.
Oh God.
You know what I'm saying?
It took a long time to get here, though. You know what I'm saying?
I want to get into that in a second, but I just kind of want to sit on this for a second because I don't know if people realize how hard it is to actually sell hard tickets.
Hard.
You know what I mean? Like when you are a actual touring artist, and you've been obviously in the game for a minute. You've been hitting the circuit, as we like to call it, the chilling circuit, right?
Chilling.
You hit the small rooms, and then you get into the medium rooms, and then you go into the big rooms.
For sure.
But sold out show, and you know what that means? That means one thing and one thing only. You can always sell more.
Oh God.
And we sold out a week out. I'm like,
feel
oh
me?
my
Went
gosh.
crazy early.
Do you know how many more tickets we would have sold had we just wrote it out?
For sure. We'd have had it.
Doubled up.
Yeah, oh God.
Tripled up, man.
Oh God.
But how does that make you feel?
It made me feel good, bro. I feel accomplished, like I said earlier. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time coming with the hard ticket selling. You know what I'm saying? I started just in the club, just getting club bags. And I forgot who told me, you know what I'm saying? But he told me that cap on just doing spot dates, you know what I'm saying? You can only do so much. And if you ain't got no hot song, you ain't got nothing else, you know what I'm saying? So I had to transition to hard ticket selling, which took years, you know what I'm saying? We're probably like on our third or fourth year, actually like hitting the road hard, you know what I'm saying? I done did shows, there's 50 people in that motherfucker, 100 people, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like seeing Dallas sell out that fast on the first run, or on a new run, you know what I'm saying? It's showing that all that hard work is finally coming to fruition.
And look, and it's not just Dallas, because I saw Atlanta sold out.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Y'all actually added a second date
For sure,
in Atlanta.
a lot of shows selling out right now.
And then I want to say Charlotte. There's like a handful of dates that are selling out. There's such a demand in Houston right now because you got a college show.
So
we got to reconnect. We had that conversation.
Hey, I wish I did Houston. We killed Houston last time. I don't know why we didn't do Houston, Ashley. Why we didn't do Houston?
Yo, shout out to Ashley, who's in the building. You know what I'm saying? She worked hard for you, bro.
For
and
sure.
she goes hard for me as well. So we got to give her a shout out. But
God.
I say this to say, when it comes to what we're talking about, the transition of focusing on quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
Because, there's, when you're working your way through the circuit and you're getting your hard ticket sales up, and some of these like Polestar, they report, your basically your ticket history.
Yeah.
And that determines your value in a lot of cases. But what do you say to that in terms of the quality versus quantity? Because you could do a lot of shows and get bags, but it's different whenever the quality of show changes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now you increase your production, your value goes up. Like,
I ain't chasing the money, you know what I'm saying? We can be out here all day doing clubs and shit. I ain't really chasing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm chasing a legacy. I'm chasing real fans that come out. My whole career I always wanted, you know how Beyonce got the Beehive? I always wanted it. So that what I'm trying to, so I'm trying to build something that powerful where when I drop, automatic, you know what I'm saying? When I do something, when I say come here, when I'm dropping some clothes, I'm doing this, it's automatic, sell out. When I'm doing cosmetic, you know what I'm saying? I need that type of And, you know, building this lane and taking this route is the only way to it.
I've always heard, you know, like it's about creating super fans.
Exactly.
Because if you could create like 5,000 super fans that spend $100 on you on average, that's 500,000 for the year.
You feel me?
You know what I'm saying? So like just multiply that.
Exactly.
Just multiply the amount of super
Exactly.
fans you have. Because there's a difference between casual fans that are like, oh yeah, I heard his song. And then there's
And the
super
real
fans
ones
that'll go buy
that's
everything you
going
do.
hard for
They don't
you.
care how much the ticket is. They don't
Exactly.
buy it no matter what it is.
Exactly.
So let me ask you, you know, one thing that I did watch the interview that you did with No Jumper, and one of the things that stood out to me and that I really admired about your approach was that, you know, I work with an artist, you know, and one of the things that I've told her and that I've taught her is that, you know, you don't always have to be quote unquote the loudest, right? You don't always have to play the, you know, I'm louder than everybody else game,
for
right?
sure.
And, you know, just do the work.
Do the work.
Just do the work and you'll see the payoff. And in your case, I think that that's kind of the story of your career where, you know, you were touching on that in that interview. Maybe it wasn't worded that way, but it was like, hey man, I'm not, you know, when you see the level of quote unquote inactivity, right? I'm not, you know, oh, hey, you know, I went 2 years without putting out something, and people will use the term falling off. And it's like, no, I'm doing the work.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm planting the seeds. I'm in the studio and I'm creating the records that are going to eventually be the records that are going to take off, like Lottery, for example, right? I admire that so much about your approach where it's about doing the work.
You got to do the work. Shit, if you ain't doing the work, you ain't getting paid.
But I mean, but like in that sense, do you kind of understand what I'm saying? It's not about being the loudest.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just about being the one that does the work. Because there's a lot of people that are loud on social media. Like there's a lot of artists, and I'm not taking anything away from them.
They burn out too fast though, man. In this game, man, you gotta understand, like, it's real strategic, man. You gotta study who did it before you. You gotta understand the ones who was the loudest. That didn't, you know what I'm saying, didn't last. The ones who was, I look at niggas like Jay. You know what I'm saying? Jay don't say shit. Jay get to the bag. Jay make power plays. He do, you know what I'm saying, everything correct in my opinion. But that's just how I been. I never been the loudest nigga, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta be too loud. You know what I'm saying? I handle business. I get to it. I make sure everything is what it is. And you know what I'm saying? I put the work in. I'm in the studio every day. I'm actually like doing this shit. You know what I'm saying?
But don't you feel like it's just a little bit more validating in the sense of like you just doing the work and I'm not loud, but the results speak for themselves?
Yeah. Because
there are guys that like, you know, have a bigger quote unquote following on social media that can't sell tickets like you.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what are we really measuring success by, right?
Exactly.
Because
a lot of shit be hype, bro.
It's
You
like
can't
a
fall.
vanity
It's the
metric.
internet. It's the internet. You can't fall for the hype. A lot of this shit hype.
You know what I mean? Like,
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. If they want to be hype, they can be hype. But shit, we want the real results.
and that's what it's all about.
We
It's
want the
about
real
results.
results.
And I think it's important to speak on that because, you know, I know there's going to be a lot of artists that are watching this as well to kind of soak up game and to understand like, you know, what's important, right? Because a lot of times people will chase the numbers,
Yeah,
chase the look rather than actually do the work.
exactly.
Do the work.
Or do both.
Oh, there you go, right? I mean, that's the way to look at it. But you know, one thing that me and you have in common is that me being a promoter, one of the last, well, not one of the last tours that I did, but one of the tours that I did in 2018 was actually the Victory Lap tour. I was the last promoter to book Nipsey Hussle in Texas.
Damn.
And I know that you have a relationship where you had a
Long
relationship
live
with
Nip,
Nipsey.
man, for sure.
Can you speak to his impact on you, you know, career-wise and just on a personal level? I know that,
Yeah, for
there's,
sure.
you know, like just kind of how he influenced your approach.
The business side of it. You know what I'm saying? My first time linking with Nip, that's when we did that Between Us record. I came to LA. You know what I'm saying? Just what I was more impressed about with Nip when I went to his studio session, of course, you know what I'm saying, he had his guys, you know what I'm saying, the activity, but my boy had books. My boy had whiteboards with like wants and needs. You know what I'm saying? It was a different mindset that, you know what I'm saying, at that time I wasn't really familiar with. You know, I was just rapping and just fucking around, but I just seen where his mind was at and I was like, damn, I need to tighten up. You know what I'm saying? So just following his lead and, you know what I'm saying, his career, you know what I'm saying, as he kept going, just seeing the type of shit he was on with the crypto early, just taking a different approach, selling his own proud to pay shit. You know what I'm saying? That shit was just inspiring to see, just to show like you ain't got to do it how everybody else doing it. You can take a different lane and still be successful. You know what I'm saying? Cause we was bumping it when nobody was fucking with Nip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember being on one of my tours and me and my DJ in the gym playing that new Nip. And then we were talking about like, damn, anybody fuck like Nip go too crazy for niggas not to fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? So, and I feel like the same with me. It's kind of the same approach. Like, I feel like, and everybody know I go too crazy, and a lot of folks just still sleeping on the campaign until it become a thing where they can't stop it.
You know, it's interesting because when I realized that correlation between you and Nipsey, those sonically, people may not correlate you to. And I'm speaking from a promoter perspective now, right? I see a lot of parallels to the way that you guys operated. His last, tour, that Victory Lap tour that I spoke on, he only did 8 or 9 dates by choice.
Yeah, for sure.
And sold out Texas, and it was more about quality over quantity. You know what I'm saying? But it's interesting because you say that. I think it's important to have goals and set goals. You mentioned the whiteboard. I've always been a firm believer that, like, dude, you could drive 100 miles per hour. If you don't know where you're going, you're eventually gonna run out of gas.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta know your destination.
For sure.
But what would you say the shift in your career was? Like, what was that point where you're like, all right, you know what? I've been doing this for a while. Let me not just focus on this to kind of like, because it's easy to get burned out in the industry.
Oh God.
You being, you're independent now, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
You were a signed artist. That's rigorous in its own right because you're only the new artist, the new shiny toy for so long. It's like Toy Story, right? You're only Woody for so long until
they
Buzz
try to throw my
Lightyear comes
ass
in.
away, boy. They try to put me in the trash can. Boy, oh God.
Oh man, but like, what was the shift to where you're like, look, I'm gonna take initiative, I'm gonna take control, I'm gonna assemble my team and do everything in my ability to maximize.
To be honest, bro, the shift was already shifting, you know what I'm saying, before I even got signed. You know what I'm saying? I always put my own bread up. I always had the independent mindset. So when I got signed, you know what I'm saying, of course, any artist that gets signed, they always like, hey, the label about to do it all. But you got to have that mindset where you still got to stand on your 10 and handle your shit. But my personal shift is when I left Atlanta and moved to LA. You know what I'm saying? When I moved to LA, because it was a lot of politics going on in the city that I wasn't really fucking with. So I left Atlanta and went to LA, took the team out there. And I was in LA probably like a year and a half. And I just felt like my buzz was dying down in the city, you know what I'm saying, where I built it at. So I had to come back to the city and build it from the ground up, you know what I'm saying, and really like get back in that mode, find out who's the who's now, you know what I'm saying, and really get back in that mix. But the real transition is when I was just blowing money, not looking at, so I'm in LA paying $16,000-$17,000 a month on rent. Like I had a crazy spot, like party. I was turned the fuck up, you know what I'm saying? Like I worked hard, shit, I wanted to play. You know what I'm saying? So when I was blowing through my bag, my mama had a real personal conversation with me, like, if you don't slow down, it's gonna get ugly for you. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't want that to happen. So it was one of them things where I was like, okay, it's either I stay on the bullshit and burn the fuck out and fizzle out, or I tighten up, you know what I'm saying, and get on my grown man shit and find out about the business, find out what's really going on, find out about my money, you know what I'm saying, tap into YouTube, figure out credit, you know what I'm saying, I was on a 2-3 year journey just trying to figure out everything, like trying to learn on my own, you know what I'm saying, and once I figured it out,
but how much do you attribute that to you being in your 20s? Because you were in your 20s when you were living.
20s,
you're living, man. Come on.
I don't regret none of that shit. I never regret none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm the best times. You know what I'm saying? We still having the best times, but man, I like to live for a living, bro. I don't. This shit ain't promised. You know what I'm saying? This shit ain't promised. We can be gone tomorrow, so I'm gonna keep shit. I'm gonna manage it a little better, but I'm gonna still.
Well, that's what I was
feel me?
Because I feel like once you get into your 30s, it's like there's like a shift, and then it's like now you're able to process and articulate, and now you're able to like maneuver differently. Because now you have at 30 what you didn't have in your 20s, which is experience.
Exactly.
But I did want to ask in terms of like your career, how important? This is a 2-part question. First one is, how important is having proper artist management, proper management in your career to grow as an artist and to, also like know how to maneuver in this business. Yeah. And how important is self-belief?
The management part is very important. You know what I'm saying? Cause you gotta understand your manager is vouching for you. They in these rooms talking for you, you know what I'm saying, speaking for you, and they network and they relationships with other folks gotta be just as strong as yours. If niggas ain't, I had experience, it was back in the day, bro. I ain't gonna say my first management, but it was like, I done been through a couple managers, you know what I'm saying? I had to find that right fit. But I had a manager at one point, and remember when, I don't know if you know Live Mixtapes.
Yeah, I remember
You familiar with live
that.
mixtape?
Yeah, I
Live
remember
mixtapes
that.
was the shit. You know what I'm saying? Future broke on live mixtape, Gucci, all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But back in the day, when I used to drop mixtapes, they used to never put my shit on the front page. They used to never just, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, God damn, I had to hit them niggas up like, why y'all, you know what I'm saying? What's up? Like, why y'all keep, you know what I'm saying, shading me like that? But they ain't fuck with my manager. You know what I'm saying? They and it was prior shit he did before he was managing me. You know what I'm saying? So it's shit like that. So I say a manager's reputation is just important as the artist, because he can block your shit too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And I've always been a big advocate of having managers advocate for their artists, because it's important that they're representing them even when they're not in the room, right? Like, you have to be able to go hard for your client and hard for the person that you work with. But to your point, there's been a lot of people, you know, where I'm from and in general that I've seen that mismanage.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important lesson for people to learn, because I believe that artist management is so important to the growth
for sure.
of a career.
For sure.
But we, you know, going back to the second part of that, which is how important is self-belief, because even whenever, you know, you mentioned the live mixtape situation where they didn't put you on the front page because of your manager.
Yep.
You still believed in yourself.
Yeah,
you know what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
Like, you're like, yo, I know,
for sure.
yo, like, I don't know about him, but I'll go hard, right?
Yeah, my confidence through the roof, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a self type of thing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta understand what you're capable of. You gotta understand your value. If you don't know your value, you ain't gonna understand what the hell you can offer. You get what I'm saying? So with me, man, I read affirmations every day. I meditate. I stay, you know what I'm saying? Even though I be on my bullshit, I still keep a balance, and I understand who I am. I understand what I contribute to this shit. I understand everything about myself. So with that belief system, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, I feel like I can accomplish anything. We just sold out that, you know, so that was something on that was last year, like, I got to sell, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we doing that. So it's like, just confidence is everything, bro. If you ain't got no confidence, man, like NBA players, NFL, you know what I'm saying? The niggas who do the best is the ones with the most confidence.
I always say that, man. When you're operating with confidence is when you're at your best.
You know what I'm saying? That's when they give you the green light. You got confidence, you get the green light.
Absolutely. And, you know, going back to it, you know, right now when we're talking about management, I have to be honest with you. The reason why I asked about the importance of it is because obviously, you know, I'm familiar with your ticketed history here in the area. So when I took on the show, I was very confident, like, this is going to go.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to go as much as it did. So hey, credit to
Yeah,
you, right?
sure.
You know, say sorry for underestimating you. You know,
good.
You know, but
I ain't know either. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, but we here
when
now.
That shit
You know
sold
what I'm
out, I was
saying?
like, woo-wee.
Yeah, but you know what? My immediate reaction and my immediate response was like, it could be a combination of things. It can be that, you know, timing. It could be you're clicking on all cylinders. The music is just resonating on another level. You know, you're the emergence of a lot of the singles that you've had that are just, you know, like I said, clicking on all cylinders. But I thought that there had to be something correlated to management. Like, there had to be like some strong management in place, because this wasn't happening before.
Right.
Now it's happening, and it's almost like I feel like you're slept on, because I don't think people really understand to the extent of what's happening.
For sure.
Because
they ain't got to understand it.
It's all good. You know, right? They don't have
got
to
to understand shit, as long as it's shit.
As long as it's running up, right? But that's what I kind of felt like the management might have played a part in, you know, the growth, or maybe the whole team.
One of my closest partners, I just hired him as my manager. He been my manager how long? What about it? Oh, he ain't in this motherfucker. He gone now. But now, I just made him my manager. He been my manager for probably like 3-4 months. One of my closest partners.
But do you feel like that's kind of just, maybe it's just timing, man? You know, everything.
It's timing, and it's me understanding the game. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I can manage myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I understand the game on a high level, and I run a whole label, so I'm on both sides. I play artist and I play CEO, so, you know, I understand this shit. So it's just like, what need to get done is gonna get done.
You know, I got to rewind, because I didn't even ask you, man, my bad. But like, where did this all start for you? Like, what made you go, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is the reason why I want to pursue music. And this is like, you know, how I got the itch to do it. Was there a specific artist that just, you know, clicked and you're like, I want to be him?
Yeah, it run in the family, bro. You know what I'm saying? Aunties, uncles, all of them played in bands. I used to go with my uncle to studio sessions, to his little concerts and shit. So it's like, I ain't understand it as a child. But, you know what I'm saying, when I got older, you know, so I used to love the Temptations. I used to love the 5 Heartbeats.
Damn.
I used to watch all type. My favorite movies was either a gangster movie or singing or showing an artist life. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that shit just so hard. You know what I'm saying? On the road, hoes, drinking, partying. You know what I'm saying? The shit that we love. You feel me? Like I was like, I got to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was real big on that. So that was really the inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Coming up in the South, you know, Atlanta. You know, we had the Gucci's, the Tips. You know, man, the list go on. Outkast, all that shit. So that shit was all inspiration for me.
You mentioned the movies, right?
Yeah.
I always tell people like me, I grew up, you know, and everybody was going out. I was watching Behind the Music.
Yeah.
I used to love Behind the
For
Music.
sure.
You know, like
All that
the
shit.
VH1s. Like,
Yeah, I used to watch that shit too.
as much as I hated hearing that TLC got pimped out on their
You know what I'm
contract, you learned a lot about it.
learned a lot.
Like,
You learned a lot.
Like, how did they only end up with $15 out of that
Yeah,
record
for
deal?
sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
And it's so crazy. You can watch them all day and still get hit with the same situation.
yeah, I mean, but you know, but I think that's a lot of like, you know, the excitement for when you're new to this. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure that you've seen the shift. You know, for you, like you mentioned, like now I know how to navigate and operate on a higher level. You know, because I have, again, in your 30s what you didn't have in your 20s, which is experience.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you look at that younger version of yourself, was it just that you were new to it and you know,
I just wanted to have fun, bro.
you just wanted to have fun?
It ain't no secret to it. Shit, I just wanted to make music and just have fun. You know what I'm saying? Be with the guys and just have some badass bitches around.
When did you realize that you were dope at it though? Like when, you know, like that, you know?
Shit, I think I say back in high school, you know what I'm saying? We at the basketball practice, you know, we always stayed in the studio. And I was always doing the hooks, you know what I'm saying? All my partners, you know what I'm saying, mess around. I'm like, man, you got your verse ready? You got your verse, you know what I'm saying? I was the one just trying to coordinate it, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's been, I've been knowing I was that nigga for a long time. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I had to believe that self to a point where I had to show the world that, you know what I'm saying? First it was just the neighborhood, then it was just a school, you know what I'm saying? Then it had to grow to the world.
You mentioned the Temptations, you mentioned some of your influences, and then you mentioned the movies right now. What is your favorite movie?
Right now?
You know, top 5. You just give me like a 5 round.
I'm my favorite movie.
Oh shit, that's a good answer. You know what? You're really living a movie.
You feel
really
me? I'm my favorite movie right now.
You know, I asked that because, you know, I feel like a lot of times when, as creatives, right, we pull from different, you know, pieces, like, you know, of like different aspects of, you know, like how we get influenced, you know what I'm saying, and where we pull influence from. But you know, it really has been super dope seeing, you know, how your career has played out and how, in my opinion, it's continued to grow.
Oh God,
it's continued to grow. And again, going back to earlier in the conversation, you haven't always been the loudest, but it's just been doing the work.
I do the work,
man.
I do the work.
You know, and I think it's important. Like, how is it for you? Like, how do you maintain hunger after all this time, though? You know, because that's important too. Because I think a lot of artists aren't able to. A lot of creatives aren't able to maintain a certain level of hunger. You know,
man. For the last couple of years, I ain't gonna lie, I've been playing with a chip on my shoulder. It's really been revenge. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm so hungry. It's just, I just felt like my cards just played a little different, and it wasn't the hand I thought I was gonna get dealt. So the fact that I got another chance to really prove myself is like, okay, now I got to show y'all what the fuck was going on the whole time.
So is it like the Mamba mentality, that Tom Brady shit, where you got, you know, the names on the whiteboard and like, all right, I see you week 1,
for
see
sure.
you week 2.
That's exactly what it is.
You know,
that's exactly what it is, and I'm still on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when I was with Interscope, I just felt like they didn't really give me the right, you know what I'm saying? I had to really stay down and stay in that studio and make these hits to be of value to them, but they didn't really give me that push that they was supposed to, you know what I'm saying? So it was just, you know what I'm saying, me seeing certain artists pop before, you know, it's a competition, bro. All this shit competition, and when you see somebody that you in competition with, you want to win a championship, you trying to go.
Why do you feel that like labels do that though? Because I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, a very well-known artist, and they were telling me like, man, you know, they treat me like I'm a +1.
Yeah, for sure. That's
you know
how I felt.
Like,
I definitely felt like that for years. I'm like,
what the fuck?
They
like,
treated me like an extra, and I knew I was that nigga.
I'm like, man, like, I'm like, you've proven time and time again that you could produce.
Exactly.
Is it just
I just think it was relationships, bro.
Nepotism.
It was past relationships. It was how I came in, and you know what I'm saying, who I came in with at that time I wasn't with, and just over the years, it just the vibe wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And just I feel like they were trying to push a different type of agenda at that moment.
Well, also too, there's always like internal changes within companies. So like people that bring you in don't always
sure,
stay there.
for sure.
So whenever you get the new group of people
Sure, I
that come
definitely
in,
got a whole new group.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Tunji signed me. You know Tunji?
Yeah, I know who Tunji is.
Tunji signed me. He got let go. Like,
isn't he at Def Jam now, right?
yeah, Def Jam. I think
he's the head of he's the head of Def Jam.
Shout out my bro Tunji. You know what I'm saying? But he brought me in. But you know, it was a conflict between him and somebody else, and he got fired. So I had to go to a whole new batch, and it was just you know that shit, that whole little cycle. And you dealing with folks who don't know what you got going on, or just trying to be cool because they it's a lot of just weird shit that be going on, bro.
So let me get into the mind of K-Camp now. Whenever you're not touring, whenever you're not creating music, how does the mind work? Is it always thinking about the next move? Is it always planning the next move?
Always. My shit don't stop. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't on the road or doing music, I'm on the game. I'm in the gym. I'm trying to learn some shit. I'm trying to plot my next 4-5 months out. I'm trying to see who I can hire to turn this shit up some more. I'm trying to figure out who the who's, and you know what I'm saying? My mind always working. I'm trying to figure out label deals, JV, trying to get my artist signed, trying to get my producers deals. I'm just all over the place, bro.
So are you one of those guys that like, if an idea hits you at 3 or 4 in the morning,
you're
gonna call you?
I'm on it.
Hey, I thought about this right now. I need to, we need to do this.
Especially if I'm on a shroom or something. What's up?
Hey, so you mentioned a few times having a label, having an artist, having producers. You as an executive, what does that look like?
Stress. Stressful.
Is it stressful because you have high expectations on yourself, or high expectations out of the people that you work with?
For sure. I feel like it's both. You know what I'm saying? It's just I just want to see the best for everybody around me. And when you're trying to pitch certain things to outsiders, it's hard to sell certain things. You know what I'm saying? You got to really like groom relationships, and it's just showing proof. You know what I'm saying? You got to just keep going. Like the work don't stop. You know what I'm saying? I might feel like my artist got the next, biggest record. I might take it to somebody else. They might feel different.
Yeah.
So now you got to go back to the drawing boards and tell that, you know what I'm saying? It's always it's something. So you got to just keep putting that work in. But it's fun because it's a new experience, but it's stressful.
It's kind of like what I would compare it to, like being a player coach. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because you're still playing the game actively.
Exactly. And I'm still trying to become,
Phil Jackson.
You feel me? So it's like
you're trying to win those 9 rings.
Yeah, I'm just wearing a lot of hats, bro. But you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's all worth it. Cause once it all come together, it's gonna be a beautiful thing.
Well, it's also validating because you can be to these young guys what you didn't have. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully the guys that you're working with understand the importance of your role in their career in regards to like not just appreciation, but the fact that you're providing these guys with the roadmap, like a fucking, you're the compass.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I've been here.
For sure.
I don't want you to have
they
to
seen me go through it, so I'm trying to just tell them to go the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of the things that they're gonna have to experience on their own.
For sure. Everybody got to learn their own way. Everybody got to go through their own steps. But you know what I'm saying? I'm a living proof of do it like this, it's gonna work.
So what are the goals with the label right now? Some of the artists, I would love to hear more about some of the artists that you're working with.
The goal is the biggest independent label in the world. You know what I'm saying? That's still a goal. I read that every day. Just linking up with the right partner that understand what we trying to accomplish and is 100% into what we, you know what I'm saying, putting out. You feel me? Just understanding our artists, understanding everything, just the whole layout, the whole roadmap. You know what I'm saying? That's really been the goal for the last 6-7 months, is finding that right partner. And we got some options, you know what I'm saying? We done been on calls. We done talked to every distributor in the damn game. I got relationships with, execs in these buildings. So it's about timing. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna happen sooner or later, but it's about timing.
So how deep is your roster right now, like in terms of like your talent pool?
Right now, just 2 artists, 2 producers.
I think that's a good. To me, that's good. You don't want to do too much.
You can't do too much. You know what I'm saying? You got to just get the foundation right first, and then we can. Want somebody to bring that check, then we can start adding to it. You feel me?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's important, like I mentioned to you. Whenever you are working with artists, and it's really rewarding being able to coach the young guys and show them the way that you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? But it's also important to like they have to do the work.
Yeah, they got to do the work. I can't do the work for nobody. You know what I'm saying? They got to put their own work
My
in.
favorite saying has always been, "I will work for you, but I will not work for you."
Yeah, for sure. They got it. That's mandatory, bro. Like I don't like nobody around me who can't put in the work.
I get a good vibe from you, man. I get this vibe that, you're one of those guys that speaks it into existence.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm a firm believer you get what you put out into this universe.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're putting out that hard work, you're going to get it back tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've seen so many guys come in that burn out. We talked about that earlier, but I think it's also a case where I believe that you do leave the way you come in. So if you came in fast, you're gonna leave fast.
Mm-hmm.
So the longer that you put in, the longer you're gonna stay. The
longer you're gonna be on here.
You know?
For sure. I believe in that full-heartedly.
So what do we got coming up, K-Camp, as far as, upcoming projects? I know we have the tour.
Yeah.
You're hitting the road strong right now. We got Sold Out Show Killer.
Yeah, Sold Out Show Killer. I might change that.
You hear the merch, you hear that, you're patting the merch right now.
But now we of course the tour. Me and my producer Trapping in London, he signed to Rare Sound. We got an album coming out called Float to London. Right dope. Now I'm just waiting on this proposal from a company. I ain't gonna tell you what company it is, so you know what I'm saying. So as soon as I get that proposal and we agree to the terms, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna have a date for that one. That should drop before the summertime. After Float to London, we got Kiss 6, highly anticipated Kiss 6. You know what I'm saying? And all these are independent projects, so I'm excited to see what they're gonna do independently, you know what I'm saying? With the right budget, it's gonna make a movie. But we got them 2 albums. We got a Rare Sound compilation, you know what I'm saying, that we already done with. We just trying to find the right partner to put that out with. Loose singles. It's a lot of music, a lot of work, you know what I'm saying? Touring. My main focus right now is touring, getting these albums out, you know what I'm saying, make sure my artist producers getting, you know what I'm saying, they right situation, and me selling my clothes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
me,
dope. TikTok, you did a distribution deal with them. Kind of like, how does that look? What was that like? And what's kind of the extent of it? Are they just like serving as a music distributor, or are they giving you like, I don't know what the perks of that is, because obviously TikTok's such a huge platform, and I feel like TikTok has been a platform that's benefited your catalog. Yeah,
for sure. It's a distribution, a music distribution with, of course, perks of TikTok. You know what I'm saying, the marketing and all that. But we gonna see how it playing out. You know what I'm saying? Pretty Ones was the first shot at it, so we gonna see how that shit playing out.
By the way, I love that single.
Appreciate it.
Super dope.
Appreciate it.
Super dope single. Man, look, I'm excited to see what's coming up for you. Before we wrap up, I do want to ask you. We've kind of talked about different parts of your career, but just in hindsight, if there's any advice that you can give any young aspiring creatives out there, what would that be?
If I got to give some advice, get you a great lawyer. I know everybody ain't got, you know what I'm saying, the funds at certain points in their career, because I know I didn't, but don't be scared to put that money up. If you want this shit, you got to put that money up. Ain't nobody gonna put it up for you unless you sign a deal. But you know what I'm saying, don't be scared to take risks. Believe in yourself. Get you a great team. Watch the people around you. Stay consistent. Stay true. Lead from the heart. Shit. And pop your shit. And put that shit on every day.
And do the work.
Do the work.
Do the work, guys. Look, man, I know you got a lot to do, man. You got to hit a lot of different stuff today. So I want to say thank you for joining me on the show.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations on the Sold Out show last night. Congratulations in advance for all the Sold Out shows that you're going to do.
Appreciate it.
That is K-Camp, the Sold Out Killer.
Sold Out Killer.
You know what I'm saying? K-Camp, you know what I mean?
Shout out Ashley. Shout out Mac Agency.
Shout out Ashley, shout out Mac Agency. Again, this is K-Camp. Make sure to check him out. Pretty One Story. Get your tickets now. And he will be back in Texas soon, and I will be bringing him back somehow or another.
For sure.
But yesterday's price is no longer today's price, just so you guys know. You know what I mean? I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
All love.
Thank you.